effort.
How big is it? So I was having a conversation. I was on the phone on the way over here, and I was like, kind of a big weekend for the Rebels, and the response was, whew, yeah. But here's the thing. Like we can point to offensive issues or defensive issues or pitching issues or bullpen or overall record, and sometimes they're good. Ole Miss is not consistently playing good baseball. They're just not playing good baseball, and they got to figure out. I think that's Mike Bianco's biggest challenge right now. There's no waiver wire where you go out and you pick up free agent players. I don't know that they need that. I mean, if you could pick up a couple of ace starters, that'd be great. But it's not that Ole Miss has bad players. They're not playing well, though, and that, to me, is the biggest challenge for Mike Bianco, is figuring out how to push the button to get a spark, to get – you've talked about Mississippi State having to grind it out every game. They're kind of who they are right now. Yeah. The games they win, they're going to have to grind for wins, and they're going to lose a bunch of games the rest of the way. Yeah. Because there are issues on that roster. Ole Miss has got issues, but Ole Miss has got a talented baseball team. They got to figure out how to play with an edge, maybe with a little attitude, a little bit of swagger, and maybe it just takes a couple of wins, even if it's lucky wins, to get that going a little bit.
Yeah. That's the Tennessee series. We talked about it, I think, yesterday, early, was pretty telling. Because one team you could feel through the TV, man. One team knew that they were winning those games. One team, every player that walked up to bat thought he was knew he was going to hit the baseball. Every pitcher knew, this guy, I'm going to strike him out right here. They played with that edge. You could feel it.
But they're also wildly talented.
But so is Ole Miss, or they're supposed to be.
Yes. Ole Miss's roster is not as talented as Tennessee's, especially
but that
would you have said that in February?
I believe this was going to be a good Tennessee team. I didn't believe it was going to be this good.
Right. But would you have said Ole Miss was probably more talented? I mean, they were preseason, what, fourth, third?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would have. I would have going in. I don't think we knew what Tennessee had on the mound.
No, we didn't. No, we did not.
And it's pretty special. The question is,
their game one starter on the weekend is a freshman, and their Sunday starter is a freshman
who throws 104.
No, that's a guy. That's a guy out of the bullpen. That's Ben Joyce out of the bullpen. The guy that they thought was going to be their ace this year was injured and can't crack the rotation. Yeah. And is it Dean Beam? The Drew Beam, the Sunday starter, there's an argument that he's the best pitcher in the SEC. We had no idea that that's what Tennessee. No. We didn't know they were going to roll out two freshmen All-American and a dude throwing 104.
No, we didn't know that.
So you'll have to forgive me if, yes, I would have said Ole Miss was more talented.
I would have said Mississippi State was, too. I mean, there's no question about it.
Incredibly wrong.
Well, I would have said the same about Vanderbilt.
What started this conversation, though, to your point, Ole Miss is more talented than how they've played. And last weekend, against a pretty good Kentucky lineup, I mean, the pitching staff questionable at best, bullpen questionable at best, but Kentucky generally hits the baseball pretty well. Mike Bianco blows up his starting rotation.
He does.
Goes with DeLucia on Friday. It works. Goes with Elliott on Saturday. He pitched well.
He did.
It worked. They lost the game, but him starting worked. And then you got another great start on Sunday, and you win that game. He's blown it up again.
But he told us he was going to. He told us they were not settling on what they were doing. He said the reason they went the way they went last weekend, and maybe the reason that it worked, was because they were going to set starters based on matchups. Who do we believe gives us the matchup with the best chance to win? And they thought Dylan DeLucia was a good matchup for Kentucky in the first game. He pitched really, really well. Ole Miss has announced Hunter Elliott is going to start game one, and then they've gone TBA after that.
See, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the idea. I can't believe that you didn't see enough from DeLucia last Friday to solidify him as starting a game, because what other pitcher this season on Friday night has given you what he gave you last Friday on the road in the SEC against a pretty good lineup? Not one. And on top of that, I mean, make fun of
But
the
is it
quote.
result or is it process?
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. But he is even his quotes after Tennessee, they were kind of stupid, right? But that's the kind of mindset that you want from a Friday night pitcher, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to win tomorrow. That kind of screw you confidence where I'm better than you. I'm going to strike you out. I don't care where. I don't care when. I don't care what you did to me yesterday. I don't care what you did to me last at bat. I'm going to step in and shove one, and you're not going to hit it. And he looked like that on Friday. And for the next weekend to not commit to him starting is an interesting decision because he looked like a Friday night guy. He looked like it.
But if you said to your team, if Mike Bianco, and he told us that he talked to his pitchers about this, if he said, look, we don't have defined roles anymore. We're going to decide what we think the best matchup is based on who the opponent is and the lineup that they're going to run out and what they present. And that's the strategy you use when you go on the road and it works to win 2 out of 3. If you take that strategy and you toss it out the window after 1 week after it worked because what you did worked one time, to me that's disingenuous to your ball club. If you look at who your opponent is this week and say, okay, we're not changing anything, guys. And we may not pitch in the same order, but we're going to start guys based on matchups, and we want you to give us all you've got for as long as you can. We're not doing this, you're a starter and we need 6 innings out of you. Go get me through the lineup 1.5 times. Let's keep it respectable, and then we'll hand it off to the next guy. And if Alabama's loaded up with left-handed bats, and you think Hunter Elliott's left-handed delivery, breaking ball, fastball combo gives Alabama fits its first 2 times through the order, then wouldn't you be doing wrong by saying, hey, let's run right-handed